Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Hope you all had a fantastic day one with insightful learnings and dynamics, engaging sessions from amazing speakers. Like now, I'm excited and I hope you all are excited to begin the day too. It is going to start with a jam packed panel discussion with two amazing and interesting guests. The first panelist is Jim Corelis and he is the CEO of Fast Models. And the second is Nishant Shah. He is the CEO of SportsFirst. Jim he's associated with FastModel Sports. It is a platform powers coaches preparation across basketball and hockey, and soon to be into more sports, bringing together play, diagraphing, analytics, strategic notes, and video for easy aggregation and communication to the team. Prior to joining Fast Models, Jim was at Stats, which everyone knows it is Stats Performance now, for many years working with data across all sports. We welcome you, Jim, to the panel.
Thanks, Amy. Happy to be here.
And the next panelist is Nishant. He is a seasoned technology leader with over 15 years of experience driving innovation and building impact high digital solutions. He is the co founder and the CEO of SportsFirst. Throughout his career, Nishant has played a key role in developing and scaling multi level, high growth technology products. He is deeply passionate about artificial intelligence and leveraging emerging technologies to build scalable, future ready solutions. We welcome you, Nishant, to the panel.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Today, they both would be discussing about the competitive edge of sports analytics in strategy and scouting features among the industry leaders and how data is winning in today's market. So let's begin. Nishant, over to you.
No, thank you so much. And yeah, let me share my screen.
Sure.
So I'll walk you through quick presentation in terms of what is sports data, what is intelligence, how to build it, and in between. So, okay. Perfect. To start with, I mean, let's just understand from very basics, right? So, what is sports data, right? I mean, whenever any match happens, whenever any practice match happens, lot of data is getting generated, right? So this here are some of the examples. I mean, there are performance data, which includes speed, distance, acceleration, and let's say lot many performance stats of an athlete. Then there are event data, right? So individual events like shots, tackles, passes, goals, etc. Then there is tracking data. There is biometric data. So biometric data like heart rate, let's say your oxygen level, your fitness level, and let's say other biometric data of an athlete. Then there is a scouting data. It includes all your players' stats, match history, video clips, and more, right? So this is some of it, and there are tons of other data which gets generated in each match, in each practice match, in the sessions, post the match as well. So let's say how this data is getting collected, right? So there are various ways to capture this data. So I'm trying to cover all the major data collection techniques here. So first is right now there are a lot of wearable devices, right? So from your Google Watch, Apple Watch, Fitbit to there are this specialized GPS trackers, smart jersey, smart heart rate monitors, and a lot of wearable devices are there, which is being used on daily basis. Second is optical tracking systems. So whenever a match is being recorded, it's being recorded at multi-angle cameras in the stadium, also in the practice matches as well, right? So all these videos are getting stored in the servers as a form of a raw data. Then IoT sensors are also very big, I would say, contributor to sporting data, right? So your smart balls, smart bats, smart boots, and a lot more IoTs are also coming up, and traditional manual data logging as well. So whenever a match is getting played, there are a lot of data loggers, right, which actually does the sports coding. They actually add the data manually into the database. So these are the major tactics of collecting the data. Moving on to, let's say, once you have data, how do you convert it into intelligence, right? So this is overall simple 4-step process of how it works. So the first step is data aggregation, right? So once you collect the data, you need to aggregate it because it's at different places, right? So some data is stored into your database, some data is stored into your Apple Watch, Google Watch, right? So ultimately you need to aggregate all this data. That's the first step. Second is, once you have the data, you need to clean the data and structure the data because each data is labeled differently. Each data fields are different, right? So you need to clean it, you need to structure it well. And the third is the most important part, which is creating analytical models on the data, right? So once your data is structured, then you have to run and process analytical models on the data. Now there are three major type of analytical models, right? So one is descriptive, which explains you how the data is, right? So what is, let's say, what is the statistics of a player, right? So it's more of a descriptive model. Other is second is predictive. So let's say from your past data, from the heart rates of an athlete, it can predict that if he's going to face any injury in the future, or if he's fit to play next match or not, right? So that is a predictive model. And third is prescriptive. So once a prediction is being made, then the model can prescribe that, if something is wrong, then how to fix it. Let's say if the team setting is not, or the team combination is not feeling right, then which player you should replace other player with, right? So this sort of predictions, it can happen with the analytical models. And the last one is visualization, right? So once the model is giving you intelligence, you need to show it. So there are multiple tools like Power BI and other visualization tools, right, with which you can create dashboards, you can create charts and graphs, right, which converts this raw analytical data into visualizations. So this is the overall process, end-to-end process of how you generate intelligence from the data. So now, as we are discussing, the third step is most important step, right? Which is analytical models. So these are the, let's say, some of the dominant models. One is computer vision, right? So computer vision is something which is predominant in the sporting industry. So let's say from tracking the ball during the match to tracking the players, tracking the biomechanics, all this comes under the computer vision. Then there are this specific predictive models like injury predictions, opponent analysis. Then there are performance simulation models as well, right, which simulates the performances based on the data which is gathered. And right now, I think the most upcoming and cutting edge is a video analysis automation. So there are a lot of raw videos available, right? So there are models which is doing scouting based on the raw video, as well as identifying the tactics and player stats and other aspects from the video. So another thing is also happening right now, which is generative AI models, right? Uh, so all other models which we've seen in the previous slide, right? So they are around since some time now. So machine learning is not new, AI is not new, right? But what have changed is generative AI. So with generative AI, it has given a lot of power to, let's say, I think it has democratized AI in a way, right? So earlier you need to have tons of data to train your own models, right? So you have to you have to have thousands of video clips to train a particular model. You have to have thousands of images to train a particular model. But with generative AI, what happened is with even small amount of data, you will able to create your own models because you are getting the foundation model already, right? So you can get it from OpenAI, you can get it from, let's say, Meta, you can get it from Google. And so there is a key difference which is happening right now. So earlier you had to train the models. Now you just need to fine tune the model with least amount of data, and it will start giving you the results. So I think Jim will also able to explain this more, but this is what is happening right now in the industry, which is a paradigm shift and which is enabling, let's say, everyone to have their own personal AI as well. Here are some of the use cases which are, let's say, possible with the use cases which we have seen. So first is player performance optimization, right? So it requires two of the sets which we discussed. So one is variables. From the variables, it generates the raw data, and with AI prediction model, it can predict the injuries. It can suggest you the adjusted training patterns and other aspects. Second is game strategy as well. So once you have the uh, past games data, past match data. Then from that, it can create the real-time dashboards for you, newer tactics for you. And definitely it is being widely used in the scouting and recruitment particularly, right? So if you have a practice match data of, let's say, grassroots level athletes, from that it creates an intelligence and suggests you the best hidden talents as well to for the scouting and recruitment. I think these are the major use cases, but a lot more use cases are coming up. So, as we all say that data is new oil, and here is the reason why, right? Because the future belongs to the data-driven teams. So, yeah, thank you so much. Over to you, Ami.
Thank you, Nishant, for the presentation. Jim, let's listen to you now.
Sure. Nishant, I appreciate you laying all of that out. I took a bunch of notes and there's a just so many applicable things to chat about. It's an exciting time right now in sports technology, particularly for coaches because there's so much data out there. There's so much new data. I think you touched on the video automation and the tracking of the video through computer vision, through all the different cloud technologies. It's, the availability of video and data tagged to video is really just changing the way that coaches are able to prepare for all sports at all levels. It's not just the professionals that have access to this data and this video now, but it's also, all the way down to youth sport. And you see it growing really every day. And here at FastModel Sports, we've got a platform that coaches use to power their preparation, and we really look at all of the the workflows that a coaches have. And you laid out the game strategy piece of it. There's the player recruitment piece of it. So you know, coaches are always focused on winning games and then acquiring players to help them win more games in the future. And the more data that there is helps them out. And not just kind of that really high level box score level data that you talked about with the event data, but also now with tracking data, like, does a player, how do they play in your system? And advanced teams configure these things out. And so, our platform really helps. There's so much fragmented data out there. So when you talk about APIs and in the sports kind of ecosystem, again, you're getting your video through an API, you're getting your basic box score stuff through an API. Maybe you've got their Twitter feeds and things like that you're always trying to pull together. And our platform really helps coaches aggregate, so pull all those things together, organize so that you're taking all your notes, you're looking at data, and now you can go recall those, and then ultimately communicate that information out to their coaching staff and to their players. And we've really found that we can save coaches when you're preparing your information. If we're allowing them now to spend more time looking at the data and looking at the video and less time formatting and things like that, because we're just really trying to help them with automated processes and mapping things together so they can send those out. So when you talk about game strategy, and I'll kind of focus, basketball is kind of our lead sport and in our DNA at Fast Model. We've recently gone into hockey. We work with a lot of the NHL teams and moving on into other sports. But in basketball, where we work with, the majority of the NBA, the majority of the high level college teams, really the majority of all college teams, both men and women, as well as in the high school game. And so we kind of meet those coaches where they are with the amount of preparation that they're able to do with their staff. And that really is a huge difference. And so our platform allows you to kind of adjust to that. But when you're putting that information together, you've got to be able to tie that, here are situational stats with video, and here's the story essentially that you're telling your players about the opposition, right? This guy's all, he's very aggressive on, hitting the glass, after shots. He's a big rebounder. Like, you need to know your opponent to have success against your opponent. And really there's a lot of opportunity to help make sense of a lot of that data. So there's the game planning where you're pre-scouting. So a coach is going to sit there and watch video. They might go back and watch the previous team's 3 games. So it's very important that that data is tagged to the video so they can more easily find the things that they want to go look at, and then maybe tag them for later use, maybe take some notes and things like that, and then maybe they notice a play that the team is running, and we have play diagramming software so that the coach that's doing the pre-scout can actually go, kind of design out the plays that they may run so that your team is prepared for what they may see in the upcoming competition. So there's all these different elements that our platform will store for them, and you can go tag, and then we allow them to easily put those together for for their scouting reports. And another thing, Nishant, that you talked about was kind of the generative AI. I mean, that's just been a godsend for being able to make sense of data, right? And I think you nailed it on the head that you can leverage all the different open AI type platforms that are out there today, or if you've got the staff to do it, you can go build your own models to make that even smarter. But really, out of the box, there's so many powerful things that if you pass data in and if you pass video in, you can have insights that are very easy to comprehend and understand and ultimately communicate. And I think that's going to be your biggest game changer. It's already hugely changing, the way that this content is consumed. But looking forward, the quickness in which it can be consumed, and the way that it can very easily be, even translated to different language or different levels of understanding and things like that. And it's just super powerful on that. On the player analysis side, when you talked about player recruitment, again, so much data comes into that. And then, just again, using basketball as an example, if you're a team, that's in Europe or in the Euro League and you're looking for players to acquire, you're looking not only at collegiate players in the States, but you're also looking at all of those different professional leagues, across Europe, across Asia and Australia. Not every league is created differently. And so you need to take that data and not only look at someone who's scored a lot of points per game, but like, what would that mean in your league? If you play in the ACB, if you play in, Serie A, how does someone who played in maybe the B League in Japan, how does that translate, to your style of play or to your level of play? And data allows you to get there. And then there's a lot of models that have been created, companies like Cerebro Sports that'll go ahead and create these similarity scores and allow you to really compare if someone's playing in this league and this league, like what type of player are they, what's their archetype, and would they be a good player in this other league? And you've got a lot of different platforms bringing that data together. And again, like a platform like FastModel allows you to bring all of that data together to then present it maybe to your front office or your GM or your coach, as you're making different decisions on salaries and things like that. So just so much data, just so much data that's out there. It's more accurate today. It's more widely available today, especially through APIs. And just it's available more quickly as well. Video, to break down a video again with those models, um, you know, those are running in real time. Those are broken down after the game as opposed to, years ago when there was a lot of, manual tagging and things like that to make sure that you get it right. And so it's exciting. It's exciting times. It creates a lot of opportunities, both for organizations to take advantage of more data, but also in the sports tech ecosystem to just continue to create, additional platforms to take advantage of that, on behalf of the coaches.
Okay. So like I have a few questions for both of you. So I'll start with you, Nishant.
Sure.
Um, as mobile first platforms have transformed fans, coaches, and players into accessing the analytics. So how do you see this influencing the scouting decisions?
Yeah, I think so. As Jim also mentioned, right? So things are moving from let's say mobile first to AI first in a way. So I think uh, till now, I think AI is going to play a very big part in scouting as well because till now what was happening is uh, uh, the traditional machine learning models or the older era AI was able to give you data, but it was not able to take any decisions on top of it, right? Because it was lacking the, I would say, uh, the generic abilities. But I think with generative AI right now, it is also going to not only understand how the players are performing in the practice matches, It will also able to segregate them. It will also able to score them. It will help the coaches a lot in terms of, let's say, going through hundreds of clips in, let's say, in hours, in a way, right? So I think that is how things are moving. So more and more of video-based AI analytics will come up, and that will not only help in scouting, but it will also help the players to, let's say, adopt to new ways of practicing. It will also give a lot of insights to the players to improve their matches, their let's say own I would say skills as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would add to that so many teams are recording all of their practices. They're wearing the vests to capture all of the biometric
Right.
information. And, with mobile, you're able to, break down that information and get it out to the coaches or get it back to the players. So as soon as they're done with practice, they've got instant feedback to take advantage of that's got a lot of things tied to it. And we've seen, especially over the last couple of years, like, with more and more video being available, our on our platform, that for the teams that use video, like they're using a lot of it. Hey, practice is over. We're shooting out video with some context out to the players and to the coaches. And when you're sending out the scout, it's not just reading information and saying, hey, we need to close out quickly or we need to, play defense this way. They're also watching, three or four video clips along that. Maybe they've notated them and things like that. So it's all of it coming together, moving very fast, and getting delivered to where the players are and where the coaches are is, it's been a huge change.
Okay. So, like with the mobile apps as delivering real-time insights, how do you ensure that data is actionable and not overwhelming for the coaches and for the analyst? Jim, you can go first.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's the huge challenge. And going back when I was with Stats, and we were building out the SportView systems with our SportView team. So shout out to Gall Oz, Brian Kopp, and all the guys who kind of really broke ground in that world. And you know, the, we had a lot of operational challenges. It was pre-cloud, and it was pre-high speed internet, pre-fiber. So a lot of the things that we take for granted today, just didn't exist. So like, we had a lot of challenges on how to get the data out of the venue. But the other thing, we were creating all of these new stats and analytics, and kind of to your point of how is it not overwhelming? I think at that point, it was overwhelming, and one of the big challenges that we took on was how do we evangelize that this data can be used to help decision making. And you fast forward, and I can't believe now it's been over 10 years plus since that first rolled out, but now it's commonplace in how coaches think. And if you watch an NBA broadcast or a college broadcast, like they're citing those types of stats now, you know as part of the game, as part of the narrative to everyone. So I think part of it is it takes time for people to become comfortable with how to utilize those stats. I do think that you can go look at a stat, and if you take it too literal, you can misapply that. And so I think that, you got to give people options to kind of consume as much or as little. And that's why when you again, going back to kind of the power of kind of bringing all that data together through different, APIs and things like that, and tagging is, because maybe an analyst understands all of that stuff. A coach may understand how to implement it, but maybe not all the numbers. But then when you go get to the players, you don't want to confuse them. You don't want them to think too much. So you want to make sure you give them the right insights, because in the moment, you want it to be natural movement. So you're teaching and you're emphasizing, but you really want to distill it down, to those points there. But I think, generative AI and all of those types of things allows you to more concisely also tell that story. So it's advancing so quick with all of those technological insights.
Yeah, so very well summarized, Jim. So I would also like to add one more point in this is, let's say, better user interfaces. So what will happen is, as you have more data, and I mean, as you rightly said, right, it's mobile first approach. So in mobile first approach, the first, I would say, principle of UI UX design is don't overwhelm the users, right? So just make it simple. So there is I was just attending one design so this there was a design workshop, and it was pretty good workshop. And in that, I mean, the philosophy is how to give more of a bird view data first, right? I mean, let them see the summaries of it first. Let them see the analysis of the, let's say if we take example of a game, right? Just give them analysis of a match, right? And then let them just go manual into the granular levels in a way, give more control to the user, give more control to the coaches. So give them more of a holistic information first, and then let them dig in more deeper where they want to go. Because you rightly said, I mean, there is a lot of data and it gets very overwhelmed. But I think with better user interfaces and better UI, particularly UX is very big part of this, right? User experience, how to design systems in such a way which gives complete information but still doesn't overwhelm the users, of course.
Okay. So like now I will, ask you a few questions related to AIs and APIs. Like the first is AI and mobile platforms allow automated scouting reports, as we know. So how do you ensure that machine generated insights align with human intuitions in the scouting domain?
Yeah, I think we kind of take a blended approach. We have a feature called Fast Intelligence. So basically, it's taking kind of that data and then kind of kicking out some insights and things like that that the coach can use as a scouting report. We've always been very careful not to force the AI onto the coaches because coaches do have their own philosophies and things like that from a scouting perspective. So we've done a lot of things from the UX perspective to kind of follow up on Nishant's point to kind of keep maybe AI insights off to the right in our scout assistant, and then that way they're able to look at those as they're creating their own scout. So it's more of like, okay, let's give you all these advanced insights that we're generating, kind of putting in AI generated format, but then allowing the coach to still take those and move them in, which still helps them a lot. When you compare that to here's a large table of statistical information and knowing like, well, okay, that player shoots 68%, but is that good or bad, right? And is that better than he was before, in the last 5 games or the last time he played that opponent? The AI is able to look at all that stuff super quickly and kind of pull that back into your way. And then, you take that to another step and you start to learn how teams communicate to their players or how a coach, will communicate things. And you can really start to say, hey, hey, engine, take what a coach says and use that as a model for how you're going to present that back. And we've had a lot of success with that too. And coaches have been, had high um, favorability towards that. Anything that can help them save time and kind of give them more insights, which is ultimately going to just help them prepare their team better.
Okay. So like, yeah, Nishant, go ahead.
Yeah, so I would just say that, just imagine this as a coach is getting a full-time data analyst, right? So earlier they had to have data analyst in the sports teams. I mean, they have to compile a lot of data, they have to analyze a lot of data, right? Just imagine now the coach is having power of a full-time data analyst with them. So coach is taking the decisions at end of day for sure, right? But then it's like he's having a very superior and intelligent data analyst anytime with him, right? So this is, I think, how I'm seeing it.
Okay. So I want a few real world examples where AI has changed a team's strategy or the decision making. Like if both of you can share.
Yeah, I mean, I think we see a lot of I mean, obviously our teams interact with the coaches that use our platform, and as we've rolled out our AI components of our platform over the last year, we've gotten a lot of really good feedback around like, oh my gosh, like I didn't, coaches have a feel for what's going on with their team and how they're doing, and this is validating those things, right? And so I think that we've gotten a lot of kind of exclamation point responses on certain things that we'll put in front of the coaches that we're generating out of our fast intelligence. So I think it's helping them see things quicker. to go dig into, and it's probably uncovering some things too that maybe they didn't see before, but it's helping them not only see those things, but then also know where's the video to go watch it, and then they can go validate it there and then quickly get to the player. So again, it's just saving them time. Like maybe they don't have to watch an hour of film. Maybe this helps to guide this down to watching 10 minutes of film, and then they can go generate their report. So which just allows them more time with the player to coach and things like that. So the coaches have been super excited, and to Nishant's point about it's an analyst and things like that. We've had a lot of people that are like, well, hey, that's like my job, but like once they get comfortable with it, then they understand it's just helping them do their job to a higher level, helping them be more efficient. Does not give them all the answers to the test, but it just helps them be more efficient and opens up more time to do other things.
Correct. So yeah, so as Jim rightly said, right, that I think one major advancement which happened with this is real time. So that is one what I would want to emphasize more on, right? So I tell you, so we have a client, a pro team as a client, right? So their challenge was when a match was getting over, they wanted to do real-time analysis of a match, and when they're going back to the home city, right, in the flight itself, the coach wanted to give the let's say real-time analysis to the players in a way, because that's the base time, because it's very fresh in their memory, and it's much easier to communicate at that point of time, right? But as Jim said, right, so earlier, I mean, it was taking much longer time to analyze a particular match, right? It was not real time, but with particular AI and intelligence right now, it is so real time. So coach is also getting a lot of data points to talk about directly, right? And even to the players, I mean, they are also able to understand their game much better on the real time basis, right? So earlier it was T+2. So I mean, game was happening today and they will get data after 2 days. Right now, it is very much real time in terms of deeper intelligence as well. So I think all major pro teams are already using this, but I'm pretty sure with the fast model and the other players like them are helping even the mid-level teams or even the grassroots teams as well to have power of AI and data intelligence.
Yeah, and a lot of the teams, they'll be sitting behind the bench and they'll be manually tagging what's going on in those games. And like you said, as soon as the game's over, you can send, if it's hockey, you can send the guys shifts. If it's basketball, you can send their shots. And yeah, they can have it on their mobile device by the time they hit the bus to get back to the airplane to go to the next game. And as compute gets faster, as data transmits faster, it's just going to be more and more advanced. Maybe the person doesn't have to do it manually, behind the bench, and it can be done with AI and things like that. But all of that is just helping speed up that process, make it more accurate, make it more accessible down market into the teams that maybe don't have the extra coach or support person to do all those things. So it's exciting times for all these teams.
True. So, like, as we are talking about data, I just want to understand, like, how can it safeguard, and like, what are the privacy policies and how can it be prevented, from data misuse? And how can APIs, like, there's massive amount of APIs, like, as the sensitive data. So how can it not be misused?
So that was my point anyways, right? So data security and privacy. So whenever, let's say, you have any open system, that becomes the first concern in terms of let's say securing the data. So there are definitely set practices in terms of that as well. So for example, any PII information has to be encrypted. Whenever any let's say critical information is going between one system to other system through APIs, right? There are set let's say parameters of securing the API as well. It restrict the on the go changing of the headers. There are a lot of set rules in the place, right? But definitely there are more challenges with. I think there is one much bigger challenge with generative AI is hallucination, right? So, uh, I mean, you train AI with a particular data, but you still don't have full control over it, right? Because that's the drawback of generative AI. Then your traditional machine learning models, because your machine learning models will not be creative, but with generative AI, it can be creative as well, and it can have hallucinations. So I think it's one of the major challenge right now in the adoption as well, that how to make sure that the data security is there, plus the data sanity is maintained in terms of AI as well.
Yeah, I mean, just like any other vertical, security is a big thing, and obviously your scouting report is very personal and private, and so we take, great care with security on that side, and like Nishant said, it's you know we're always kind of looking at like what does this mean with when data goes into these open AI type models and things like that. And there's ways to do it locally versus in their cloud. And the type of data that we'll pass in is generally statistical data, so not anything that's private to any person. And so we're very careful in what we're kind of putting in to get out, and then we'll take that over to here where it's a different type of secure spot to integrate it. And I think that's obviously one of the, as people look at the training sets of all that, like, how will that evolve, and how comfortable are people with their data in there? But we definitely, look at it from, okay, let's, the types of data that we allow to go into there. We're very mindful of that in our processes.
Okay, last question for both of you. Like, what's next in the API-driven sports analytics? Next 3 years.
Yeah,
Nishant,
I
you're
think
on.
no, thank you. So I think I'm seeing two things, right? So one is open systems. So still sports is not having that many open systems, right? Like less open sources, less open APIs in a way, right? So everything is very much black box in terms of implementation. So I am seeing that will change eventually, because everyone is understanding the importance of data, democratization of data, right? So I am strong believer of, data should be available for anyone and everyone to, let's say, create their own systems. But I'm seeing a lot many, let's say, teams are also opening up that data. A lot many leagues and let's say larger sporting companies are opening up that data. So I think the open systems are going to be prevalent in next 2 to 3 years, and definitely AI is something which is picking up in every industry. So that is going to be also very critical in sports as well.
Yeah, I would say, over the next 3 years, I think the AI component will be huge. So I think everything's going to continue to converge together. I think AI will be used to do more of the breakdown in an automated manner. But I think the bigger thing is going to be, how do you search that data and bring it together on the back end and making it easy and available for everyone. And I think it's just going to continue to get faster, more accurate, and provide experiences also down to where a youth team, a high school team, a university team is going to have the same experience that a professional team has. And it's really kind of democratizing, kind of that whole ecosystem. Whether it's wearables, whether it's advanced performance data, basic data, all the different video and everything. Like, there's just so much more and more that's becoming available for people to make those connections. And when you put that layer of the AI on top of it, just allows it's the access to it and the insights that's going to unlock. Like, it's going to be huge over the next 3 years. It's just going to be always available wherever you are, on your TV, on your phone. And so I'm excited to see it continue to come together and continue to grow.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Nishant, for an amazing panel discussion. I think it was an engaging conversation with both of you.
Thank
No,
you.
no, thank you so much. Thank you.